Okay, I got it on my computer, so I'm going to get off my phone. Okay? No.
I'm good.
The time is 6:02 p.m. and I call to order the special board meeting of Premont Independent School Board, District Board of Trustees. Trustee Peña, Trustee Gutierrez, Trustee Falcón via Zoom, Trustee Johnson, Trustee Morales, Trustee Barrera. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This meeting will be recorded and the minutes will be taken to document the proceedings. Audience members are required to follow the standard rules of order for conduct of a meeting, which allows audience comments during the open forum portion of the agenda. Please refrain from comments during the course of the meeting. Also, please silence all electronic devices. Now we move on to 1C, pledges. Please stand for the pledges. And the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Heavenly Father, once again we thank you for bringing us together for this meeting. May we act with integrity as we conduct our business discussions. Continue to grant us the necessary skills to be an effective school board and guide all of us in our quest for improving student outcomes. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
No one has signed up, so moving on to 2, business and support. 2A, presentation of the Premont Ernest H. Singleton Early College Academy and Premont Montessori Academy turnaround plan. This is a plan that needs to be submitted because our elementary, because of the status of our elementary F status, so this is a required document from TA.
Good afternoon, board, members of the community staff. Like Ms. Johnson said, this is a requirement. It's a state monitored strategy for campuses that have been rated unacceptable. So at the elementary campus, we've been rated an F for 2 or more years. Therefore, this is a required monitoring plan. It's to outline how we'll rapidly move student achievement from unacceptable into acceptable. It's a roadmap for improvement, but also, like Ms. Johnson stated, a compliance requirement. TA outlines certain success criteria for us to follow when we were creating the turnaround plan, and they are listed here, which is stakeholder engagement, school improvement strategy, curriculum and instruction, support and capacity building, milestones, performance management, and resources. Just to preface, the way TA outlined what we need for the plan, and like I mentioned, those success criteria were there. They sent us an Excel workbook to follow through, so everything that we put in our workbook was then transferred into this plan. So So some of the wording things, the slides are very detailed and long. Usually, traditionally, we don't put so much wording into our slides, but it was recommended by our service center that everything we're going to submit to TEA be put in these slides. So I apologize if it's too lengthy, but I will try to summarize rather than read through every single slide. This is also on our website in the district page and in the campus page as well. So stakeholder engagement, we did have a stakeholder engagement meeting on September 16th. There we invited stakeholders to come. We gave a survey. We asked for their input, which the information was gathered, and it is, board members, it is attached to the back of this plan. So next step was this public hearing, and then if there are any comments from here, we would also add these comments from today into the plan when we submit to TEA. The summary for the information that we had on September 16th, there were key themes. Some of them were student attendance and engagement, support for special populations, teacher recruitment and retention, campus and culture discipline, family and community engagement. So these were the recurring themes for the results that we got for our survey we put up on the 16th. We had to choose a school improvement strategy. There were several options that TEA recommended. The one that we selected was intensive curriculum and instructional program improvements. So that's our turnaround improvement strategy. We were already on the track before we got notification that we needed to do this plan. We were already on track by having applied for the Stronger Foundations Implementation Grant, which then provides us resources to utilize to implement this plan, one of them being technical assistance provider Engaged to Learn. In year one, and you'll see it's going to be talking about year one and year two, we are also required as part of the plan to put what's going on this year and what's going to happen next year. And before, I'm not going to dive too deep into year two. Year two is supposed to be deepening the practices and aligning it. However, we're going to regroup for sure after year one and see what's working, what we may need to change as a result of year one, which is this year. So year one, the focus will be on establishing fidelity and lesson internalization, assessment use, data-driven instruction to ensure measurable student growth and close gaps across grade levels and subgroups. Year two, we're going to deepen those practices and continue what works. Curriculum and instruction. So the adopted curriculum is our Bluebonnet RLA and Bluebonnet Math for K through 5. We have to follow required minutes as per the implementation grant and as per TEA, and it is listed there. K through 3 RLA is 120 minutes, 4 through 5 90 minutes, and K through 5 math is 60 minutes. And we have to make sure it's in the master schedule as such. Our assessment plan, there are 5 parts to the assessment plan, which is the vision, protected time and frequency, assessment integrity, integration, and student work analysis and data. So the vision, I'll go ahead and read the vision just so you know it encompasses all of those components. It says, Premont ISD leaders and teachers share a vision that curriculum-embedded assessments are central to improving instruction and student learning. Leaders use these assessments to inform instructional decisions, identify supports for students, and customize future lessons. Teachers implement the Bluebonnet learning scope and sequence with fidelity, use embedded assessments consistently, and will analyze student work through structured protocols and adjust instruction. So actually our implementation team created this vision prior to this assessment plan, and then from there, protect the time and frequency. We protect the time and frequency for the assessments through a pacing calendar. So that's something that teachers are also required to do, have a pacing calendar. We're able to see when assessments are administered. Next is assessment integrity. We're making sure that we're giving the assessment as is with little to no modifications unless it's required through a student's IEP. Integration of other assessments. We're not using random assessments that aren't curriculum-based. Ones that we may use are obviously benchmark STAR assessments. Aside from STAR benchmark assessments, we're sticking to assessments that are from the curriculum. Analysis of student work data. This year, we're going to implement DMAP for lower grades, where prior assessments weren't implemented in DMAP. Now, even the state has imported blue-bonnet assessments into DMAP, where students are able to take, or teachers are able to input the results of assessments for lower grades into DMAP to make it easier for student data analysis. Once again, year one, it's consistent use of curriculum-embedded assessments. Year two, we're just deepening the practices. Another component of curriculum and instruction, aside from the assessment plan, is professional learning communities. The first component is structure and frequency. So year one, which we are currently underway, and we've kicked off a couple of POC sessions already. We have grades 2 through 5. They're organized by content area, and pre-K, kinder, and first are organized through through grade levels because they are self-contained. Each PLC includes teachers and instructional coaches, campus administrators, and instructional aides joining as needed because they are in the classrooms more consistently on a rotation. Same thing, same structure for year two. Facilitation and attendance. Our instructional coaches facilitate the PLCs. And attendance is required for all teachers, including special education teachers as needed, and instructional aides, as I just mentioned. I know Dr. Brazel and myself, if coaches can't be there, we will conduct PLCs as well. There are certain protocols that we have to follow in PLCs. It's a map of what is going on, what is conducted in your PLCs. Excuse me. They are, it's a 4-step process, one for unit internalization and then another for lesson internalization. So these protocols that we're conducting in PLCs, they're prescribed through TEA, through the implementation grant. So it's nothing that I'm making up, nothing that Engage to Learn is making up, nothing that the campus is making up. TEA put these protocols out so we can follow for PLCs. So that's what we're utilizing. In addition to, if you see campus trends through walkthroughs, if we see teachers are needing a PLC on DMAC, we will also have a PLC in DMAC. If we see teachers need a PLC in classroom management, we will have a PLC in classroom management. But the majority of the time, there's going to be some unit and lesson internalization on PLCs. Year two, it's the same protocols, just deeper implementation of the process. Support and capacity, another success criteria. This is an overview of the campus. The administrator has 9 years of principal experience. 79% of teachers have more than 2 years of classroom experience. 64% of teachers hold a valid teaching certificate. 25% of teachers are designated under the teacher incentive allotment. To build on this capacity, we're going to provide targeted coaching to strengthen instructional practices, continue to use PLCs to foster internalization, collaboration, and data-driven planning, ensure professional growth opportunities that benefit all staff, and support sustained improvement. Year one, once again, the planned training to build capacity amongst the staff, which, like I mentioned, whether it be teachers, coaches, or administrators. The professional learning plan will focus on building strong foundations in curriculum and instructional leadership. Engage to Learn will be the driving force behind these sessions. They will provide training for coaches and teachers alike and leaders. Year two, it'll be establishing fidelity from the previous years and refining the practices that were learned from year one. Differentiate training, because we do have teachers that are have 20 plus years, and then we have teachers that have 1 to 2 years with little to no experience. So teachers with fewer than 2 years, or those that may be not as effective, they'll have an additional observation with a feedback cycle. So when I say observation, it's not their normal end of year teacher evaluation. It's an observation of the implementation of the curriculum. So what we've been doing is observing teachers on how they're implementing the curriculum. So for purposes of this plan, that is what observation and the feedback is in reference to. Of course, we also do like our normal teacher evaluation that's at the end of the year. We implement those indicators. But the majority of the observations that I'm talking about for purposes of the plan is the implementation of the curriculum. Just so we don't get the too confused, because I know teachers have one yearly observation that's their formal observation that gets submitted and documented. These are different types of observations that we do walk through, and they're specific for implementation of the curriculum. So that's what we're doing year 1. Year 2, we're going to continue the same, just refining and sustaining the practices and making adjustments as needed. Walkthrough tool that we use, like I mentioned, this specific observation, we're using TEA as a walkthrough tool. It was, like I mentioned earlier, it's nothing that we created, it's nothing that Engage to Learn created, it's something that TEA created. It's called the Stronger Foundations Implementation Learning Walk Tool for Bluebonnet, and there's one specific for math, and there's one specific for reading. We do use also the NIET tab rubric evidence. We try to align them best we can because they're 2 separate rubrics, and we capture all the data in GrowLab, which GrowLab is a component of Engage to Learn. Observation frequency, like I mentioned, this is separate from the teacher normal formal observation. We have at least 1 per month with written feedback in a coaching conversation within 48 hours. Most teachers also have daily, weekly short drop-ins just to monitor, making sure the curriculum is being implemented. Year 1, we review data for special populations. Teachers and leaders will receive training for inclusion models. So this is for year 1. We already know that our SPED population is very high, so we're trying to do the best we can. Within the curriculum, there's embedded support, so that's another process. During PLCs, there's certain protocols that teachers are learning to follow to use the curriculum to make sure those supports that are embedded are implemented for those certain populations of students. Year 2, similarly, deepen the practices through the beginning of your data review, analyzing the results. Next is performance management plan, monitoring of the turnaround plan. So the campus intervention team, which consists of principal, DC, SI, instructional coaches, early childhood coordinator, we are the ones in charge of monitoring the plan. And it's going to be monitored quarterly and monthly as well. In year 1, the monitor will occur quarterly. We will meet and gather all our data. We have a checklist, which I'll just talk about a little bit later, which was also included in your packet. So there'll be 4 quarters that we monitor it officially and then report the data back to you all. Year 2, similar process, just deeper implementation and calibration. Frequency of milestone review, like I mentioned, on a quarterly basis. However, there's more informal reviews for the campus-based, I would say, checklist and checking off what's being monitored. Year 2 will continue the same cycle. Collection of the data is going to be on the checklist that was included in your packet. Year 2, similar checklist, we're just going to refine it to match the deeper implementation. Milestone progress reporting and communication. This is where we'll share with district leadership through monthly principal meetings led by the superintendent and DCSI. For stakeholders other than the campus, progress will be communicated through semester presentations at board meetings, and staff will receive progress measure updates through staff meetings. Year 2, the frequency will increase just for transparency as it gets closer to the end of year 2. The stakeholders will get quarterly updates rather than semester updates. Milestones, the milestone checklist, what's included in them are PLC implementation, assessment administration, data analysis, observation and feedback, capacity building, leadership monitoring, special population support, and stakeholder communication. So if you looked through your stakeholder, or through the packet at the end, where all of these were milestones that were in the Excel sheets by month. I mentioned there the detailed action steps. It has detailed action steps, responsible parties, the evidence of artifacts, and the status, which is in progress, complete, not in progress. Resources. So for this school year, we are using the award that we got from the Stronger Foundation Implementation Grant. We received $200,000 for MAP and $200,000 for RLA for a total of $400,000. Year 2, we plan to look at additional grant options, which one is a lot of 4. And we also are looking to see if there are any other school improvement grants out there, or use Title I funding, or title funding in general. We plan, if we're going to follow the same process and just go deeper dive into the implementation or deeper alignment, we foresee the amount costing almost the same. Lastly, additional information, because this is both Montessori, a plan for Montessori and the Early College Academy, just wanted to share that we had already requested TEA approval to consolidate Campus 103 to 101, and that would be the bulk of that is the plan for Campus 103, is to consolidate it to Campus 101. Are open to any questions that you may have? Questions, comments from anybody?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's a lot of information that's been covered here, apparently. I did review it online,
Yes.
which I also reviewed the plan and the survey. As I break it down, we really have to take into consideration all aspects. And I'm looking at the educators, I'm looking at the parentals, I'm looking at the students. And from my experience, I'm not in this educational system full-time. I do sub, and I did it to get an insight of the district and how it's working. Going from elementary to high school, here's the feedback.
Ma'am, can you say your name so that we'll know?
Oh, England Tina Cáceres. Pleasure. Sorry.
Okay.
But anyway, and this is my observation. And I'm coming in from an outsider, so it's an excellent observation because you're getting input from an outsider. I know that a lot of professionals within this district are going to be hesitant in coming forward. They do fear retaliation and they do fear favoritism because and we are a small community, it's who you know, who you're related to, and etc. We have lost a lot of excellent educators and some that have also made the transition of relocation, and that's sad. Okay, because they were playing on the sports. Well, this is not something we can turn around like in 1 week or 2 weeks. I know that. But what I do want to share is when going to elementary, I'm going to start with the elementary. Going with the elementary, and I'm talking the first, second, third, etc. And it goes all the way to high school. But going there, they do have aides. I don't understand now why you have students at different levels of performance all in one classroom. That really, I think, and if it's a TA issue, I'll bring it up with TA. But that is very difficult to teach these students in one high level and try to go to a lower level. There are so many students from the elementary to the high school here that are illiterate. They can barely read and write, and that's sad. And so I want to know, and then when the aides pull these students aside, right, I notice there are different levels. Now there's some that are very, and I don't know if it's borderline intellectual functioning, I don't know if it's a learning disability, I don't know what their diagnosis is. But pretty much working with populations in the rehabilitation field, you can kind of more or less try to figure things out. But what I want to say, I noticed that the Chromebooks, a lot of the education is also on Chromebooks. So if the teachers don't have the time or the aides to assist those students, if we go back to what we used to years behind, a student gets behind. Unfortunately, there's several students getting behind. So that is a concern that you guys might want to bring up. And that's coming in. The educators, I have a concern because there is so much pressure on the educators. So where does the school board come in play? How is the school board assisting our educators? Are you involved? Are you available on weekends? Do you take information and take it back to TA? Because they also need our support. We don't want to lose all our educators because, you know, I love the schools, you're doing great, but this is a good example where we stand. And this is not this first year or second year. So going to high school level, I know I have a lot, but you covered a lot here, a lot. So, and I wanted to cover most subjects, and I can't because I don't know if anybody else has to speak up. But anyway, going to the high school level, we're really dealing with major behavioral problems. And there's a lot of favoritism here too. Who does this young lady belong to? Or this young man? Are they from an educator? Are they from the school board member? And I do see that. But what I do see also, you have different levels of performance in one class. And I feel that we need more creativity in the educational system. I sub today, and I'm going to tell you, it is very difficult when you sub. You've got some educators, they expect you to do their work because they're going to be out, and they want to make sure, because they're pressured, that this work has to be done this week or this day. You've got educators that say, okay, this is what they got to do. You're going to have the students tell you, and they did today. Well, we already done it. Okay, do you think I want to just stick with that? No. So I told all the students, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, they're just creativity, ideals, suggestions, take it how you may. But this is what you need, is the input. So going back to the high school.
Ma'am, I need to make sure you understand that any questions or comments are
Recorded?
specifically on this,
At this,
or, yes,
That
because
is
of the
this.
elementary.
I can break it down into how she did. It's all in here. I just broke it down and simplified it. So if you want me to, I can go step by step, that plan, the engagement, the turnaround, the blue bonnet.
The thing is, the plan is for the elementary campus.
Okay, but I think it's good to know this. It's still good. I'm almost done with that. So let's go back to the elementary. The high school, you want graduates. And we want them to succeed. So we need true leaders. I'll end it there. Going back to elementary, I have two at the school, not mine, granddaughters. They are straight A's, and they're good, but we take them home and they study. Now we blame the parents. Okay, are the parents educated enough? Do the parents know what this is? Because I'm educated, I understand this, but do they? They do not. So who's educating the parents? Who's doing the home visit? Do we have grants for the home visit? Are they growing? We're a very rural, underprivileged area. It goes all the way to Rios, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know where else. So I just want to share this. It's not negative. It's constructive criticism, positive feedback, ideals. Because I have suggested assessments a long time ago. What assessments are you going to utilize? That's the question. And how are they going to do the improvements? Because the pressure cannot only be on the parents and educators. So we really need to think, okay, these children are at a different level. Maybe a child teaching a child. I don't know. I don't know what to suggest. You've got a lot of suggestions, a lot of good planning, strategic planning. But this is very intense. And I'm going to end it with this. the students. I've got a granddaughter, and I'll tell you now, she was doing great. Do you know how hard it was for us to work on her self-esteem and self-confidence? And she's pretty intelligent, and people who know her here know they are. She comes crying, and she's, Grandma, I can't do this. I go, why? My brain can't think anymore. My brain can't think, and she's breaking down. So we also need to understand that the pressure is also on the students. But I don't want to take up the whole time. I end it with this, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? That's it. There being no further business on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned at 6:32 p.m.